Can you have a full workout routine using only the steel mace? My name is Dakota Phillips. I'm a steel mace coach, and today we're going to answer that question. So I've heard online in comments, no shade to you if this was you that left this comment, but people have said they use a steel mace, but it's supplemental. They don't think that it should be used as the main or only form of workout tool in your arsenal. Now, I can agree with that depending on what your goals are. If you're trying to be the world's strongest man, you probably will need something more than a steel mace. However, if your goal is just general fitness, you want to get moving, you want to start having more fun with your exercises, I really do think that the steel mace is the only tool you need. Now, that being said, I don't think one is always the right answer. It may be, but my sweet spot for steel maces is 3. Now, when you think about that in terms of what you would need for dumbbells or even a barbell with weights, you're going to need a lot of variation there. You probably might have something from 5 up to 75 or more pounds in dumbbells, and then you're going to need one for each hand usually. With the steel mace, it's a lot more economical. You're going to save a lot more money, and like I said, only 3 items is kind of that sweet spot. You may need to add another mace or 2 as you get stronger, but we're going to break down what the 3 maces I would recommend are. Now, first, it's going to depend a little bit on your level of fitness. You can go back and watch my videos breaking down what mace I think is right for the right person, but we'll go over that generally here. So the gold standard of flow, if you want to flow, you need a 10-pound mace in my opinion. Now, if you're newer to exercising, you may be able to get away with a 7, but I really like the 10 because it's balanced from the globe to the handle. That's really important when you start doing single-handed moves, start flipping the mace if you want to get into that. If your goal is only strength and conditioning, you maybe aren't interested in flow, it's maybe not as big a deal to you, but I like to have the option with the 10-pound mace. So generally, if you're a pretty fit person, you've been working out for a while, a 10-pound mace is gonna be in your arsenal, whether that's the heavy side or the lighter side, but a 10-pound mace is generally a good idea for everyone. Now, if you are newer to working out, you can go lighter. There are a couple different options for this, and even if you're not newer to working out, if you're still a pretty generally fit person, I would recommend one of these. So this is a 5-pound mace, this is a 7-pound mace. The 5-pound mace is going to be really good for brand new people working out. This is great for if you're shorter. Both of these are a little bit shorter handles than the 10-pound mace and above. So that's a little bit nice because when you go into two-handed movements like a bow and arrow, for me, I'm a little taller, so I feel a little bit more squished here. But if you're shorter, that's going to feel a little bit better than the 10-pound being really long-handled. So something to keep in mind there. But you're going to want one of these for, in my opinion, it's good for learning the movements. So for me, I have a 7-pound mace as my kind of learning weight. So this is great for learning things like coin flip for me, where I release the mace, doing behind the back moves. This was a great tool for me when I was learning that. Also, when you're doing single-handed movements, it's really nice to have that lighter weight to then work your way up to the heavier weights. Now, like I said, the 10-pound mace may be your heavy weight, so maybe you're only needing 2 maces to start off with. For newer folks, that's probably the way you want to go. Have a 5 and a 7 or a 7 and a 10. Now, if your goal is only to flow, you'll never need anything more than a 10-pound mace. You may not need anything less than a 10-pound mace. If your goal is to really build some muscle, build some strength, then you're going to need something a little bit heavier, like a 15. This is a 20-pound mace. I don't think you're going to need more than a 20-pound mace to start with, or at least I would recommend you get your hands on something 20 pounds or less first, because you may be used to using dumbbells at the gym, and you may be thinking, oh, a 20-pound mace or a 20-pound dumbbell, it's heavy-ish, but you know, maybe you're doing chest presses with something way heavier. This is not the same. You put that weight at the end of a stick, and then you start swinging it around, it gets a lot heavier. So I would recommend really don't go any more than a 20-pound mace unless you know that you can handle something more than that. For me, I think the heaviest mace I've ever swung is 40-ish pounds, and that's like almost unusable for me. I can do some squats with it, a few curls, a few 360s, but I'm really not going to be able to do very much with it. With this, I can still do sets and reps, and it's going to challenge me, but it's not going to be something that limits me. So for me, my 3 maces that I have in my toolbox, I have a lot, but what I use in my workouts, I use a 7-pound mace as my single-handed learning mace. I use the 10-pound mace for my main kind of agility mace flow. That's kind of what I do a lot of my workouts with. And then when I want to challenge myself, do some more of the strength muscle building, that's when I break out the 20. So like I said, this is going to be different for each individual person. You can go back and watch the video where I really go deep dive into what mace is right for what person. And like I said, 3 maces is really all you need. You could probably get away with 1 or 2 as well. You may need to get a 4th mace as you get really strong. Maybe the 20 just becomes too light for you after, I would say it's going to take you several months for that to feel too light, but you may want to end up using something a little bit heavier as you get stronger, but that's going to be over time. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the comments and I'll answer all of those. Make sure you subscribe for more mace and fitness content.